Yo, what's up, everybody? Slow-mo backslap here, hitting you with another video. And today we're going to talk about Halo Infinite and the good, the bad, the ugly of these Halo Infinite reveals. So if you caught my live stream, then you know some of my thoughts of how I feel about the game. I did like the gameplay. I feel that 343 has finally mastered that Bungie gunplay that works so well that they cultivated with the earlier Halo games. I think that is probably the best mix of the old school Halo feel with some modern improvements like the sprint. Let's talk about that grappling hook for a moment. I don't really have an opinion on it yet because I really kind of want to play with that first before I can really give a determination. But it's a new dynamic to be able to use the grappling hook to reach higher locations, although the way it looks is like that little thing doesn't look like it should be able to support a Spartan. It doesn't look realistic, but whatever. How it's going to be applied in PvP is a different story. I don't see the usefulness of it in PvP. I'm trying to think of all the different scenarios why you would use the grappling hook outside of just getting to higher ground and being able to have a height advantage over your enemies. Otherwise, like grappling enemies and bringing them to you, why would you do that over just shooting them down? If you have a line of sight on them, and especially if they have a line of sight on you as well, there's no purpose in using that grappling hook. You're better off shooting your gun. So we'll see how that gets applied in PvP, what becomes the meta, so on and so forth. But as far as the campaign goes, in using it to bring items to you, that's somewhat useful. Getting to higher ground, different locations, that's somewhat useful. But grappling enemies, all that stuff unnecessary. I'm just going to shoot you in the face and keep it moving. So that out of the way, the character models. Now, I even said this in the live stream that the character models needed work. And of course, the internet being the internet, they took that and it took a life of its own. It's pretty hilarious. Just check out some of these memes. These are freaking hilarious, and shout out to 343 for actually not taking it personal and just having fun with it. It's funny, laugh, and so they approved of it. So Brian, I think he's the community manager for 343, states, so are we all in agreement that poor deadpan brute is named Craig? I now really want to know more about Craig, what he's up to, blah blah blah. So they want you to send them your memes, and that's showing some humility. That's being a good sport. But the flip side of that is you gotta fix this. You can't just let it be. It's cool that you are taking it all in stride, the criticism, but the onus is on 343 to make these brutes look like the actual brutes that we know from the series. These are the first brutes I've seen that are just hairless brutes. I really don't know why they didn't go with the character design of the brutes that were very foreboding, very formidable looking from Halo Wars 2. Take that design, use that, not this, not Craig. So a lot of the outrage on the internet is about the visuals. And another thing that I did talk about was the facial expressions, the facial animations. Take the Marine that's with Chief, and this guy, the way his face works when he's talking, it just doesn't look natural. So the facial animations are weird. His beard is weird. It looks like it's glued on. That's just not, this isn't good enough. Like, we see other games that are just as expensive, actually less expensive, and are at this level of AAA, and you just expect more from facial animations at this point, from textures on the faces at this point, more detail, more realism. It's just, we got that with the previous Halo games, so they gotta step it up there. Now, some other issues that I have are in regards to them using a build from January. So this is a January build. This was intended to be used for E3 last month in June. Why can't we get something that's a bit more current? This is the PC build from January. It's July. Certainly the game looks different in the past 7 months, but why are you showing us this? I thought that was a misstep. There's pop-in. The pop-in I missed during the live stream, but after looking over it again on the 4K upload, you see the pop-in going up the escalator, and it's just, yo, isn't this SSD? Isn't this supposed to be next gen? And stuff like that you really don't want to see. They confirmed there will be no ray tracing at launch, and I know for some people they may think, hey, that's not that big a deal. And maybe in a sense it's not, considering that out of all the platforms that are going to run this game, the Halo Xbox VCR, the original Xbox Fat, the Xbox One S, the One X, the Series X, the Lockhart, and PC, that only like half half of these platforms are going to actually even be able to do ray tracing. So, okay, I will concede that that's not quite worth delaying the game. I can see people who intend on playing this game in the last generation saying, what is my game being delayed for when I'm not going to get that feature anyway? But so far for what we've seen, the game needs a bit more work, a bit more detail in the environment, more work on all the characters outside of Chief. Chief looks next gen. The rest of the characters don't. So again, we haven't seen the final build, but that's something to be concerned about. And if they can't get it ready by launch, let me not go there yet. Let's talk about probably what my biggest concern is with Halo Infinite. My biggest concern is that this is more of a reimagining of Halo Combat Evolved and not an actual new addition to Halo. And yet, they're saying it's going to be a 10-year game, a 10-year process, 10 years of content for Halo Infinite. And I understand what that means. That means it's a little bit going more towards that looter shooter route. Not necessarily in gameplay, but in content delivery, which I'm fine with. I've said it before. I'm fine with that. They're not doing my Spartan 4 character created by you. But hey, maybe that's something that might be down the road within this 10 years, this decade of content. But I'm looking at everything they've shown us so far, and my concerns is that I see too much of Halo Combat Evolved, not in gameplay, but in story element. Now, when people said they kind of want that Halo to go back to its roots, they talked about the Chief's armor, which his armor looks amazing. They went back to old school look with it. Fine. I don't think they were talking about reimaginings of the story. And what I mean by that, and I'm fine with callbacks, but when this pilot finds Chief floating in space and then wakes him up, to me, that was very reminiscent of in the Pillar of Autumn and Combat Evolved in the very first mission when the Chief is awoken out of cryo sleep to help defend the Pillar of Autumn against the Covenant's attacking. In this gameplay reveal, the Chief crashes with that pilot on the Halo ring, comes out, and he's immediately taking down 3 Covenant fortified locations on the Halo ring. Very reminiscent of the second mission of Halo Combat Evolved, where you crash land after escaping the Pillar of Autumn, and the Chief goes out and immediately goes to take down 3 Covenant positions being held. And it's just like, this is really similar. And I don't necessarily like that because that never really seems to work out. You look at The Force Awakenings and how so much of it was a callback, reimagining the same kind of scenarios with A New Hope. Some people like that nostalgia, but a lot of people was like, yo, I really wish you would have tried to do something more original. I look at a movie like Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, classic movie. And then you see the later movie Predators, plural, that is essentially the same movie with different characters. They're supposed to but it continues on the story, but all the same things happen as they did in the first movie. And that's just not, the movie bombed because it was nothing original about it. And that's not what I want to see from this game. Halo Infinite needs to launch and be at its very best. I don't want Xbox launching the game like they launched Sea of Thieves, although I think this game's going to have way more content than Sea of Thieves did. But Sea of Thieves Rare eventually built Sea of Thieves up into a really good game, apparently. I don't play it, but a lot of people who do enjoy it. And I don't want to see Halo Infinite become finally a good game 2 years from now. I don't want to see them apologizing for doing way too much of using ideas that Bungie had for Combat Evolved instead of pushing Halo forward. So all that said, overall, outside of good old Craig the Brute, the game didn't look horrible. The gameplay was good. The gameplay looks to be the best of what 343 has been able to do with the franchise. But they still have a lot of work to do. And if they are not able to give us a build, show us a build that's more stable than that, 4 months out from launch, I'm fine with delaying the game. I care more about Halo Infinite launching in the best state possible than the Xbox Series X having a marquee IP for launch. If the game is destined to have the worst reviews out of any Halo game, how is it beneficial for the Xbox Series X to have this game, this incomplete game at launch? So that's my video. What do you guys think? Should they delay Halo Infinite? Do you think everything that people have been saying about it is overblown? Are you excited for the game or you're not? Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the dislike button if you didn't. It's all good. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content on Halo Infinite in the future. Peace.